entirely destroyed by a falling tree while people were still in that house.
We are told that woman only sustained minor injuries. She's at St. Elizabeth getting checked out. But take a look at the home here. This is Division Street in Erlanger. This is the house that was impacted. Take a look at that tree, just uprooted completely, falling over on top of that house. Super scary situation. You can really tell how strong the storms were just looking at this. But we're going to take you to some video of the scene from earlier this morning. As Aaliyah said, we are told that one woman had to be rescued from this home. We're told two others, though, somehow managed to get out of the house on their own. That woman is fine. She went to St. Elizabeth. She sustained some minor injuries. This is a very similar scene, though, to what we have seen across the tri-state.
We're here in the community of Newport, London, Ohio, and we've been sharing the story behind the damage of this home all morning long. We've met the homeowners, Carol and Rich Stillion. They've shared exactly what they experienced at 1 a.m. this morning with strong winds just completely lifting up their roof here of their home, above their living room, above their kitchen, and then into the bedroom. They say they were awoken by shattered glass coming from the window here. And this window, guys, is right at the head of their bed. And they were in bed when all of this happened. They jumped up. Rain came through the ceiling. And now they're here as workers are putting up boards on those windows on the roof. But just so much damage all across the board. Their front lawn, Carol's garden, is covered in wood and debris. Their back fence is ruined. And the inside, guys, also just has so much water damage. But the married couple tells us that they're so happy that no one inside had any injuries, not even a scratch.
And our storm chaser, Brett Adair, was chasing these storms as they were happening. He captured these videos of a supercell thunderstorm in Stanton, Tennessee. There was a tornado watch in effect at that time. As you can see, though, there was a lot of rain and strong winds. The storm also dropped large damaging hail as well. Two possible tornadoes did touch down earlier this morning about 50 miles south of where Brett actually was, causing a lot of damage, a lot of major damage there. Right now, they are going through some flash flooding.
I just knew that it was going to get bad, so I took me and my family to the nearest shelter, and that's on Talon and Catfish. When the first one touched down, we watched it come through, but we was hoping it missed our house. But as soon as we drove up, we realized we have nothing left.
Crews are still out this morning clearing roads and checking for stranded drivers as those who may have been injured in the storm and all this was happening. And look at this right here. These tornado shots were all captured by viewers in Arkansas and sent to us to our Little Rock station via Chime In. It's not clear how many of these videos are of the same tornado, but thousands in Arkansas are still without power this morning. And with those tornadoes came heavy rain, leading to concerns of major flooding this morning. And it wasn't just tornadoes and rain that hit that state. Check out this video right here of a dust storm that blanketed parts of Arkansas and Missouri. Visibility, you can see, it's hard to see out there. It's near zero during the storm. Luckily, there were no reports of any injuries or accidents as a result. Those storms also brought heavy rain to Illinois, causing flooding just south of Chicago. In the suburb of Dalton, several drivers stalled out after trying to make it through washed out roads. The water was so high, some people needed to be rescued, as you're looking at here. This video is a reminder that if you encounter flood waters while driving, just turn around and don't drown. A suspected tornado swept through a city of Nevada, Missouri, Wednesday morning. It caused significant damage to homes, businesses, cars, knocked down trees and power lines, and even overturned a train. The storm also ravaged a motel, ripping off the roof as well. One woman rode out the storm in her motel room bathtub.
I was actually in the bathtub, and as you can see, everything in the bathtub, everything is coming down into the bathtub. It was just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. This is happening. That's all I could think, and I just held on.
And she says nearly all of her belongings were destroyed except for her mother of the bride dress, which she plans to wear for her daughter's wedding. Later this month, Missouri State Police say there are no reports of any deaths. We move northeast of Nevada to Pilot Grove, Missouri, where the National Weather Service confirms an EF2 tornado touchdown Wednesday morning. Damage from the storm knocked out power, which could take another day or so to even restore. Residents say outdoor warning sirens never went off, but local emergency management officials consider themselves lucky because they have no reports of deaths or even serious injuries. Mark Slavitt spent Wednesday in Pilot Grove and spoke with residents about their scary experiences.
Mike Wusselman has lived in Pilot Grove for more than 35 years and has never seen a storm of this magnitude in his neighborhood. The winds blew over two of his sheds containing a boat, a truck, and some construction equipment. Strong winds blew down several of his trees and damaged his home.
We were sitting in the living room and we heard the alerts come over the phone, and about that time we noticed the trees were leaning over pretty good, so we just headed to the basement.
Members of the Strite family say they heard a tornado moments before their tractor trailer flipped on its side in their driveway. The winds also damaged several sheds and buildings on their property.
Sheds gone, trailers and trucks over, and Barb's house, neighbors' houses tore up pretty bad. And it said you could hear the thud whenever the truck came down, and they could hear all the wind, and just pretty shook up, just kind of like what people tell you that a tornado's like.
Strong winds destroyed the home of 82-year-old Barbara Shoup. Part of her roof blew into a nearby field. The wind also uprooted trees and destroyed several sheds on her property.
And the threat of severe weather continues today, and more flooding could come this weekend. And as you can see, risk for severe weather today from Texas through much of the South, stretching in some cases all the way to portions of Maryland and even Pennsylvania. Severe thunderstorms, high winds, hail, and heavy rain can all be expected. And it's been a stormy week in several sections of the U.S. Severe weather struck Oklahoma Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We're learning at least 2 tornadoes were reported, one just outside of Tulsa, the other northwest of the city closer to Kansas. The damage is from a Tulsa suburb you're looking at here, where the winds shredded some roofs. And yesterday, the World Meteorological Organization announced that Helene is among the hurricane names being retired in the wake of the deadly 2024 hurricane season. Helene killed roughly around 250 people and was the deadliest U.S. hurricane since Katrina in 2005. In addition to Helene, Beryl and Milton are being retired from the Atlantic Basin list. The names Brianna, Holly, Miguel will take their place. Hurricane names are retired when storms have been especially deadly and destructive. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, today marks the 51st anniversary of the largest tornado outbreak in U.S. history. We'll break down how it all went down, and we'll show you how you can stay safe during severe weather.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. Look at this wide range in temperatures on the way in the Northeast today. A good chunk of the Northeast warms into the 60s to near 70. Parts of northern New England will stay in the 30s and 40s. I bet you can make out where the warm front is. Here we are during the morning hours, the back edge of some of the rain and wintry mix up north. That's moving out. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The trend will be for clearing from west to east. Now, brighter skies return on Friday. It's a little breezy, though. Temperatures will be in the 50s and low 60s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We are going to be in a wetter pattern going into the next several days. That means good chances for some showers and thunderstorms, especially the second half of your day on Thursday, as much of this rainfall could be around all the way through Friday. A few storms throughout your Thursday evening could be on the strongest severe side as well. Friday, lots of clouds, but will still be warm. Thursday's highs will be up in the 70s to low 80s, and we'll even see those warmer temperatures likely across the region on Friday.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your forecast highs for the day. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-80s across the area. Hot temperatures, warm moist air coming up out of the south, colliding with a very strong cold front that's creating severe storms across parts of the Midwest. So it looks like as we go through the day, we're continuing to see more severe weather with this system that's going to be pushing through as we go through the afternoon, evening on Thursday, and then into Thursday night over parts of the Midwest, heading to the East Coast as we go through Friday.
presented by the National Weather Desk.
Yesterday, after a thunderstorm with heavy rain in Redding, California, the sun came back out and produced a rainbow with a faint secondary. We received several pictures of it. We received this drone shot also, and because it's way above the ground, you can see the entire bow in a full circle. When you're on the ground, that's not possible. Part of the full bow disappears below the ground because of the angle.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
This week marks the 51st anniversary of the massive tornado outbreak impacting 13 U.S. states. It is one of the largest tornado outbreaks on record for a single 24-hour period. Meteorologist John Gum explains what happened.
On April 3rd and 4th, 1974, we saw an outbreak of tornadoes that has only been eclipsed by the pure number of tornadoes one other time, and that was in 2011. This outbreak produced the second most largest number of tornadoes on record, but it is also considered to be the most violent tornado outbreak on record as well. The super outbreak of 1974 produced 148 confirmed tornadoes. Many of those tornadoes were violent tornadoes. Sadly, 319 people lost their lives to these tornadoes. Thousands upon thousands of people were injured by these tornadoes. And yes, the most violent outbreak of tornadoes ever, because there were 30 violent F4 and F5 tornadoes that were confirmed in this outbreak. The amount of damage, just staggering. In today's dollars, $5.26 billion of damage was caused by this outbreak. It is historic, definitely one of the worst tornado outbreaks in history. Thankfully, today, we've got improved technology. We have Doppler radar, which can see the winds inside of these storms and can begin to detect tornadoes before they even develop. Dual polarization Doppler radar also helps us to detect debris being lofted by tornadoes, so we can even confirm a tornado via radar now. Back in 1974, that type of technology was just a dream. Yes, a historic outbreak of tornadoes here back in 1974.
Weather strikes this time of year. Hail is very likely, but why can it sometimes be the size of a penny, then other times it's as big as a baseball or even larger? Here's Syracuse meteorologist Violet Skybor with a look at how hail is formed.
Have you ever seen videos of hail as large as grapefruits? Well, the reason why hail gets so big is because of a process called an updraft. And that occurs in thunderstorms where we have a wind that is rising very rapidly through the middle of the thunderstorm, and it keeps the hail suspended in the top of the storm, collecting more and more rain droplets around it and freezing onto that block of ice. So the stronger the updraft, the larger the hail will be. As far as wind speeds for updraft, depending on the size, a wind speed of 24 miles per hour in that updraft can create pea-sized hail. 35 miles per hour can create marble-sized hail. 40 miles per hour can create penny-sized hail. 46 can create nickel-sized hail. 49 can create quarter-sized hail. 60 miles per hour can create ping-pong-sized. 64 can create golf ball-sized. 69 can create a hen egg-sized. 77 produces tennis ball-sized hail. 81 produces baseball-sized hail, and 98 miles per hour is what gets you that grapefruit. Pretty impressive speeds for an updraft, that upward flowing wind in a thunderstorm. Now you know how strong it needs to be in order to see hail that large.
Hail and tornadoes are dangerous, and so is the lightning that often accompanies them in severe weather. There are things you can do to protect yourself. Meteorologist Emily Santom shares some tips for avoiding lightning dangers during severe weather season.
Here's the reality. The odds of being struck by lightning in a given year are low. The CDC says it's less than 1 in a million, and thankfully, almost 90% of those victims survive. But there are things to keep in mind when it comes to thunderstorms. Lightning and thunder are paired together, and light travels much faster than sound. It takes 5 seconds for thunder to be heard a mile away from the lightning strike zone. It can generally be heard up to 10 miles away, meaning when you hear the clap of thunder, it is strongly advised to head indoors. Sometimes lightning can be seen without thunder. This is often referred to as heat lightning, which occurs when a thunderstorm is too far away, but folks can still see the lightning. Lightning is extremely dangerous and comes with many risks. If you get caught outside in a storm, try to find some indoor shelter. But stay away from electrical cords, as almost 1/3 of lightning strike injuries occur indoors. And don't engage in water-related activities or outdoor sports either, as those can be unsafe. Remember to stay in shelter for 30 minutes after the previous sound of thunder, as it could save your life. Also interesting to know, according to the CDC, men are about 4 times more likely than women to get struck by lightning. And lightning strikes actually cause more deaths on the weekend, specifically on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Emily Santum.
You may have heard of Nick Uhas. He's been on Big Brother, America's Got Talent, The Today Show, but he's also a scientist making incredible videos on YouTube. Emily Gracie sat down with Nick to talk about his love of moving science out of the lab and making it fun and also accessible for so many.
I fell in love, I would say, with science probably as far back as 6th grade. And I became a biology major in college. And then along the way, I started studying at Yale University economics and then video production in the summer. That changed the route because I was like, oh man, this is really cool. You can film, almost like a demonstration. You can talk about what you're excited about.
I saw you sent ice cream to the outer limits of our atmosphere. Where did that idea come from and how did it play out?
We saw some video of somebody sending something to the edge of outer space. And I was like, that's incredible. But I don't want to just do it. I don't want to just send something. I want to use this as a learning opportunity. So I thought the thing that I'm most curious about is how quickly does it get cold? How quickly would ice cream then melt from the ground if it were hot on the way up to the edge of outer space? And as it turns out, not to ruin this experiment, but it gets cold really fast.
The best part is when you eat the ice cream at the end.
So half the fun of this particular experiment is literally finding it. The part that is totally unpredictable, there's no drone that's guiding it. Once the balloon pops, it just, comes down through a parachute. You don't really know where it's going to end up. And I think that's kind of the fun of the whole equation.
Okay, so tell me about the fire tornado.
And so the fire tornado used to be this thing you get a trash can that had kind of holes in the side and then you would spin it like a small one. So we wanted to put our own spin on it and say, how would we make this even wilder? So we created a fire tornado device, essentially a very shallow pan that would have fans surrounding it that would allow you to actually see the bottom of the vortex because it would reflect. We really amped it up. And so we got it to be about 20 feet tall inside of a warehouse.
Do any of these trial and errors involve trips to the hospital?
Not yet.
And as we go to break, views of lower falls along the Genesee River in Rochester, New York.
by the National Weather Desk.
Well, did you know eating oysters in the Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia areas, you could be helping the environment? Meteorologist Amy Aronson explains.
Next time you slurp down an oyster and recycle it, you're actually giving back to the environment and the Chesapeake Bay. Here's why.
They filter water, and they also create habitat for the other species that we Marylanders love to eat, like blue crabs and rockfish. We recycle shells. We go weekly. We have a crew of very strong men who pick up oyster shells, bring them back to our processing facility in Cambridge, Maryland, where they sit outside for a year, let the sun and the rain do all of its work to get rid of all that organic material. And then we actually partner with scientists at the University of Maryland who breed oysters, and the shell and the oyster larva come together on a setting pier and sit for about 2 weeks till the little larvae connect to the shell. Then they're called spat on shell. And then we load them onto a boat and we take them out into the Chesapeake Bay and we plant them where the Department of Natural Resources tells us to.
The Oyster Recovery Partnership has put 11.5 billion oysters back in the bay.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.